Welcome to Secrets of the Scene. I'm your host, Scotty, and you have no fucking idea how long I've wanted to post this video. Seriously. No idea how hard it's been for me to wrestle with YouTube copyright laws and fair use. No idea how many fucking versions I made of this one fucking episode. But finally, YouTube seems to be okay with fair use again. I think. I guess. I don't know. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. Because I made this video so many goddamn times over the past 5 years that I just want to get on with the show. I don't just... Let's go. So, Secrets of the Scene is a series I conceived where I commented and critiqued movies as they went along. The first episode was intended to be Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, I posted the original video way back in 2009. It's still up there. And that was back when YouTube was actually fun and wasn't Google's little bitch. You vloggers today have no idea what you were missing. It was the golden age of vlogging. You could do whatever you want. It was paradise. But no, seriously, it was paradise. YouTube back then, when it was its own website, it was like that one teacher that just didn't give a shit about what the kids were doing. You could be playing checkers or fucking jerking off in the corner there. They didn't give a shit. You could just do whatever you want. But yeah, enough about me glorifying the old days of YouTube. Let's continue. Da 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 da. I ripped this from my DVD. Come and sue me. Da da da. My original Secrets of the Scene Raiders of the Lost Ark video had a surprising number of views. Sure, it wasn't like your average cat video, but it reached fucking 68,000 or something. I don't know how high it is now. It also actually got a lot of dislikes. This was most likely because I had ghetto-ass equipment back then. I mean, look at that quality right there. And that fucking little 90s microphone I had to use. And oh god, look at what I did with my beard. I also got some weird comments things. Yeah. But anyway, let's start the fucking movie. So right away we have the Paramount Pictures logo. It acts as a real mountain in the distance. Every Indiana Jones movie does this with the Paramount Pictures logo. It transitions into something in the background, which is pretty cool. It's unique and interesting. The first person we see in this movie is Indiana Jones, and it's interesting how we only see him with his back to us. Throughout this entire intro scene, with him and the guides walking through the jungle, we don't see his face. He's this obscure figure that everyone is following. So right away we're being told that he's the leader and he has his shit together. Fun fact, this was Alfred Molina's first American movie role. He's the minor character, Satipo. It's really his second movie, the first being some British movie that no one gives a fuck about. If you don't remember who Alfred Molina is, well, Dr. Octopus, Spider-Man 2. This whole introduction is classic Pulp Fiction fare. We got a hardy adventurer with seedy, feeble guides following him in the brooding atmosphere. John Williams' score is big in Spielberg movies, and it definitely sets the mood here. It's kind of this low-key, obscure, native music. So of course every indie movie opens with a brief title of where he is and when. You do that sort of thing when the history plays a role in the story. Otherwise, who cares, you know? This scene with the whip is definitely one of my top favorites in film. This is when some guy in the group tries to shoot Indy behind his back. Indy, of course, hears a gun, and he cocks his head in this very subtle manner. Then he cracks out his whip, and every cut here tells you something. It tells you not to fuck with Indy. The way Indy walks into the light, highlighting his eyes. Oh man, it's epic. Then the next cut closes in on him wrapping up the whip. That shot right there basically tells you that he knows how to bring down the hammer. Moving right along. I remember arguing with my friends in school about this whole light thing. We were just kids back then, so we had our nerdy arguments. Not that we don't have them anymore, but I was always like, so how does that supposed to work? Sure, we know that the indie universe houses the supernatural, but this specific temple had man-made booby traps. So I was always like, how does the light trap work? You didn't have sensors back then. In case you don't know or realize, I like to write stories. I like to follow a general rule of 3 for everything. I noticed that they did this with Satipo's character. He was afraid of the light trap, screaming his lungs out. He almost fell into the pit, and he was too eager to reach for the idol. These 3 things tell us exactly what kind of character he is. Scared, unskillful, and unthoughtful. It's ironic that we know more about this minor character than Indiana Jones. So far throughout this entire introduction, all we know about Indiana Jones is that he's a fucking badass.
Stay here.
If you insist, senor.
And thanks for watching part 1. Before this one drags too long, I just want to cut it here. And then I'll continue with part 2 with one of the most famous scenes ever in film.